I think there were very high aspirations when we're talking about that period of time where me and you were entering the college world. I would say because of the damage that's been done to people either choosing wrong or not making it and dropping out or not having the GPA and getting kicked out, I think people have become more and more not depressed. I don't know if depressed is what I want to use, but something in that realm. And I think that's also driving some
Yeah,
of
but
this.
the question is this stuff
wait,
that's...
wait, 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 wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm talking specifically to the people that still live there, not like the Candaces that moved out. I'm talking about the people who still live in those conditions. On top of not having the knowledge to tell people what to do, they have this predisposition to say that even doing this is bad because it hurt me. And that's where a lot of the energy comes from.
I understand
from
what
the
you're
people
saying.
that I'm telling you that parrot her points but aren't her. But go ahead.
I understand what you're saying. All of this is bullshit. Okay, I fully reject all of this. There are going to be examples of people going to college and fucking up. I agree. For every one person that you find that goes to college and fucks up, I could probably find you 5 or 10 that worked in the trades and is 45 and can't sit properly because their back hurts, or is 50 and has like chronic pain in like multiple parts of their body, or who has like a dramatic injury at work that now they get paid disability and they can't walk anymore or whatever, right? Like you can find groups of people in any area that fail to launch, or that are in a particular job or do a particular thing, and for whatever reason they end up dropping out, they end up failing, they end up having a bad time. These things happen. But when you're giving advice to broad groups of people, you have to speak on the aggregate, right? And on the aggregate, having a college degree, even in basket weaving, is going to be better than not going to college at all. Like, if there are people that are having issues with the system, you give advice to those people. You don't tell people to abandon the system. Like imagine if we were to talk about this like any other topic, right? Do you think that going to the gym is good for you? No. People go to the gym and they get injured all the time. Even famous weightlifters all complain about back problems or shoulder injuries, or you can go to the gym and somebody can take a creepy photo of you and now it's on the internet for ever. Like, no, don't go to the gym, just jog. Like, that's the equivalent advice that we're giving here, because some people might have issues. We're going to basically toss out an entire system that has removed like entire generations of people from poverty or bad living conditions, or have elevated their lives in other ways. We're going to say because of some people that had a bad engagement with the system, we're just going to say go to the trades or don't go to college at all. It's just such a ridiculous, that's not even like a real argument. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Wait, so I think there's one thing you're forgetting, is that I agree with you. So I'm explaining to you the attitudes that lead people to say these things. I'm not agreeing with these points, right? I'm agreeing that everyone should go to school for something in STEM. That's if you talk to any kid that I've talked to in the last like 8 years of going back to my high school, that's what I tell them. Go to school for STEM. You're going to be successful. You're going to buy your mama a house.
I don't understand. Then what are we disagreeing with?
No, I'm telling you why people have these attitudes. I think the thing that I disagreed with the most was the idea that, hey, if you're broke and you get FAFSA, like, you don't pay a lot of money.
When you say why people have these attitudes, people have these attitudes because of people like Candace Owens. I don't think you find a ton of people in real life that are like, oh yeah, like college degrees suck, they're worthless, they don't do anything. That just, every single area in the world that you go to, everything on the ground is going to betray that. That reality is just not going to be there. Like, this idea of like all these Starbucks workers have all these degrees and blah, blah, that's just not true. Like, if you look at the average education of a level Starbucks worker compared to like an office worker, the office worker is always going to be higher. Like, that's just not the case. Yeah, you can always find like odds and ends or people that didn't make it or whatever. But again, we have to speak in aggregates. We've got to speak in averages because we're talking to large groups of people.
All right, it's like you're trying to push me to defend something I don't agree with. I agree with you. I will say what I don't know is if we could look at hyper-specific information to less affluent communities, if a lot of these things will hold true. And I assume so, but I don't know. And I think that those people, like the teachers, I know teachers that have told kids not to go to college from my high school. Teachers.
Because well, sure, but like, are these kids
I went to college and I'm making $28,000 a year, and yes, the school is trying to help me with this, but I still don't have a lot of money. And so imagine if you're growing up in a community where, one, there's the whole narrative, the left narrative of racism and blah, blah, blah. Two, everybody you know that went to school, because the people that go to school and are successful, unfortunately, we move away. So we aren't there as examples to these people. So the only people that they have are their counselor, who never helps them. They have people in the community who usually maybe didn't pass school or went to school and just have loans now. Those are the people who stay in the most non-affluent communities, right? And those are the people giving advice to the kids. This is why I make it a thing to go back to my community to like try and be a beacon that, hey, no, school can actually work out. But like all of these attitudes are what's left in this non-affluent community. So when we say globally, nationally, hey, if you go to college,
okay. Listen, I agree with what you're saying. That you know what? I hadn't even thought of that, which is an example of me being not in these communities. And what you're saying is almost certainly true. This makes 100% this makes sense. But that's even more of a reason than to be highly critical of people like Candace or other large speakers that might have some penetration into these communities, because the people in those communities might not have people around them that are good examples of success. And so not only are they getting negative reinforcement from their immediate environment, they're also hearing people online saying the same bad well, right? So wouldn't that be an even stronger push for people like Candace or other people to say like, hey, listen, college is good. Like maybe you should figure out a way to navigate the system intelligently or...
Yeah. People like Candace, what they should be doing is they should be hosting what do they call them? Career
fairs
things.
Are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they should be doing. Like bring people back to the community. I agree with all of that, bro. I even go back to those things specifically. I contact my school and say, hey, when is career day? I want to be there. Blah blah blah. So I'm just explaining to you where some of the attitudes come from. I think Candace is taking what she's hearing from these communities and pairing it, which I do agree with you is dangerous. She should come up with her own opinion separate from that and then talk to how to get out of the situation rather than avoid. I agree with you.
Okay, but if you go to those communities, are these people saying like, go do the trades? Is that a thing that people in these communities are saying? Like go be an electrician and a carpenter and a plumber?
Yes.
All right. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I can't say
bro,
to it.
We can go to my hometown.
Sure.
Check this out. I argue this on my Facebook with people from my hometown that college makes sense.
Like, I don't know. I feel like when poor kids go to school, I feel like they're probably not going to be doing the artsy degrees as much. And the idea that like poor communities are like, guys, we can't go to school for college. You know, we've got to go do the trades. Also, keep in mind, going to school for the trades is different than just telling somebody to go and work in the trades too, right? Like there's a difference between saying like you need to go and do a 2-year program or whatever, or an apprenticeship or whatever, do this versus like just go work for some company as a bull.
100%.
Yeah, because those are going to be two wildly different outcomes for income and everything. But okay.
I know you were talking about counselors and stuff, and I only heard parts of the conversation, so correct me where this might seem like it doesn't apply. But when you're in a poor area like I was from, school counselors just don't help you. They're not real. Like they don't talk to students. There's no like, hey, what do you plan to do for college? Like you see them rarely. And specifically in my case, there was a scholarship I could apply. I could have won, which was like $4,000 more or something. It's called Georgia Star Grant, Student. And all I had to do was take the SAT and get one more question right than the other time that I took it. And I never knew this because nobody ever told me, oh, you can get this Star Student thing if your score is XYZ.
Yeah.
So like counselors, bro, if you're from like a rough neighborhood, they're hired by the school probably because they're forced to hire one. And they like talk to kids with behavioral problems.
Sure.
But when it comes to like future planning,
so real quick. So I don't think I necessarily disagree with what you're saying, but I think that the advice then to kids has to be different. I don't think the issue, I think that when people look at poor people think that the issue is just like a money issue, like full stop. How much money do you have? And then that dictates your path forward. But it's strange because those same people in other instances will acknowledge that wealthy people have a whole bunch of other advantages besides their money. I feel like that when it comes to poor kids, a lot of the issues aren't just like how much money you have, is that they don't have the infrastructure in place to orient them towards all of this money that might be out there. So for instance, like I went to a prep high school and all of my classmates were loaded. Okay. But even despite that, they talked to us so much. We did like a whole semester on the different grants to apply for that the state or city might offer, like all this financial aid, blah, 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 right? Yeah. We had so much information about this. Like it was like one of the halves of like going to college, besides doing admissions and picking like where you wanted to major in and where you wanted to go and all that, was like how to navigate the financial aid system. There was so much information about it. And so for like poor kids, my guess is going to be, I've never gone to a poor high school, but my guess is going to be is that infrastructure isn't there for them to negotiate, or not to negotiate, to navigate it. Yeah. But then like, I think that if that's the case, the advice that you would give wouldn't just be, don't go to college, it's bad for you. Don't go to college, that's shit. It would be like, hey, here is a whole bunch of stuff that you need to know about so that you can navigate the system in a better way. Because if you are poor and you do decently in school, there is so much educational opportunity, so much money out there for you. But I mean, I do agree with you. If you don't know about it, then yeah, you might just say like, maybe you just grab like part of a Pell Grant and then you take out a whole bunch of like private loans and now you're like financially, it takes you 6 years to get a kind of a bachelor's degree. I do agree with you that is possible. Yeah, 100% for sure. Yeah.
So I think this is what conservatives do. They see all of these problems because a lot of time they're from these communities just like me, like with Candace. Well, I don't know specifically Candace, but a lot of conservative people that say the points that she's saying grew up with me, and then they take this opinion because they see how somewhat hard it is to make it in the system. But
no, that's not Candace's point of view. Does not come from struggle with the system. It's all woke, ideologically, culture war informed. 100%.
I don't know.
1 billion%, bro. 1 billion%.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I will say I know.
Can I just let me like even when like asking you? Okay, listen, because the biggest engagement that I've ever had with Black community is I said this to my grandma when I was growing up. I went to my grandma's every weekend. She lived in a row of townhomes in Bellevue, and that community there for some reason there were a lot of Black people, and so a lot of the friends that I played outside with were Black people. These are the people I slept over with. Did this. Those families, okay. I remember, I won't say his first and last name, I don't know if docs or not, but like that family, like there were two that I spent time with, were incredibly strict. Like no rap music, like your pants were pulled up, like the parents were always like really strict with curfews and everything else. I can't imagine, now I was too young at the time, but like the expectations for everybody and those families were always so high. I don't understand where this expectation comes from, where it's like, well, if you're poor and a minority, don't go to college. I always feel like that's like the dream or the goal in those Black families. It felt like, yeah, it was like you have to do really well at school so that you could succeed and do these things. And I'm not trying to demean the trades, but not so you can go and be an electrician or be a plumber. It was so you can go to college. Yeah. Like, and then even for people that work in trades, I feel like, this is, I'm going anecdotally here. No, I'm not even going anecdotal. I'm doing pop culture. They're like, yeah, like if you're in the trades, like your goal is that like, oh yeah, like I did this so that my son can go to school and go to college and become a whatever, blah, blah, blah. Not so that like, oh, I was an electrician so my son can grow up and become an electrician too. Like,
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.